Hello, my name is Kimberly Yoder. This pie chart represents my cultural identity as a whole, with each piece representing something important about myself that is represented by my personal culture. There are 9 different sections that express a unique characteristic about myself. The categories are religion, exceptionality, gender, ethnicity, age, sexual orientation, geography, class, and language. The first piece of the chart is my religious beliefs. I grew up in a family that didn't follow any certain religion because my parents wanted me to be able to discover my own religious beliefs without them influencing me with theirs. I have been exposed to multiple religions as I grew up, which have helped me to develop my own set of religious beliefs. I'm not atheist by any means, but I do not identify under one certain religion. That is why I only made religion about 5% of my cultural identity. The next piece is the exceptionality piece. I made this part larger because I'm a dual mid-level and special education major. I was not in special education in school myself, but I've always had a soft spot for special ed. I remember being in 6th grade and going to a 1st grade classroom to be assigned our book buddy for the year, where we would read to them and have them read to us. All of the students in my class were assigned a book buddy but one. He was a special education student who was having trouble reading himself, so I offered to pair up with him and have the same book buddy. I helped both my book buddy and my classmate read books that year, and I credit that experience as one of my first encounters with helping a special education student. Although that was from many years ago, I still remember that experience and often think back to it while learning about special education. From that moment on, I have wanted to become a special education teacher and have enjoyed every opportunity I've had working with special ed in my field experience. Being a special education teacher is a large part of who I am because I cannot see myself doing anything else as a career. The next piece is the gender piece. My gender piece is one of the largest pieces in my pie chart because I believe that women have been more empowered now than ever in history, and I am proud to be a part of this important change. I am a hardworking young woman who isn't afraid to stand up for myself, ask questions, and be myself. I have learned from the stories that the women in my family have passed down to me just how different their lives were as a young woman as the same age as myself, and I have a newfound appreciation for all of the opportunities I have been granted. I believe that women have historically been given low expectations in life, but women in today's world are constantly exceeding those biased expectations. I am proud to be a woman in this new era. Next is my ethnicity. My ethnicity is a small part of who I am, which is why the piece is so small. Although I am predominantly German American, I do not really know the German part of my heritage or culture. Unfortunately, a lot of that was lost as my ancestors traveled from Germany many years ago and assimilated to American culture. I would have loved to have learned more about my German heritage, but many of my family members who were either directly from Germany or passed down those traditions have passed away. So at this point in my life, my German heritage does not represent much of who I am. The next is my age. My age is also a lower piece of the pie chart because I do not think being 21 has changed my life that drastically. The main change is that I have the ability to legally drink now, but that's not a huge part of who I am. Although I am technically an adult, I still feel like I'm a teenager at times. And being a young adult is an awkward time in a person's life because you're not much older than a high school student, but you're generally thrown into the adult lifestyle right away. It's a time to figure out who you are as an adult and not as a teenager anymore, so I'm still in that middle ground area. The next piece is the sexuality piece. I gave this piece a lower number because I don't think it represents a lot of who I am. I'm heterosexual and I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend Kenny for almost 7 years now. We started off just as friends, but after years of getting to know each other, we became a couple. I've always known that I was heterosexual, but I've also always been accepting of other sexualities. I have family members, friends, coworkers, classmates, etc. that are all of different sexualities, and I've always seen those differences as just another characteristic about a person, something that was normal and just another part of who they were. The next piece is geography. This piece of the pie is interesting to me because I never really knew just how much being from York County has become a part of my identity until I became friends with people from other states. My friends have pointed out the overwhelming amount of farmland, which just seems normal to me, the unique Pennsylvania foods like scrapple, and the slang or way we speak differently than others, like saying a while or crick instead of creek. After having conversations with my friends about the differences in geography, we expanded into those other cultural differences like cuisine and language. Although York County doesn't have the best reputation, it is a large part of who I am, and it's influenced me in many ways. The next piece is my class. This piece of the pie is larger than most because I've recently changed my class standing as I got older. My parents do not support me like they used to, so I support myself almost completely financially now. Because of this shift, I have had to work harder and smarter to earn the money I need to survive. Through hard work, I was able to move up to a management position at each job I've had. The movement from upper middle to lower middle class hit me hard and fast, but I tried my best to do what I needed to in order to survive. So although I am not from a high class socioeconomically, I have and continue to work hard to maintain that standing and grow into a higher class. Finally, the last piece is the language piece. I made this piece of the pie larger because I feel like being an English speaker is an important part of my identity. English is a very difficult language to learn as a second language, so I appreciate that I grew up learning how to speak English. I tried to learn another language because I think being multilingual is a beneficial skill because being able to communicate with others is key. I took Spanish class all 4 years of high school, but unfortunately lost much of it as I entered college. I wish I would have stayed with Spanish because I think that language is a huge component of each person's identity, as it is the main way we communicate with others. Overall, my pie pieces were pretty similar in size, but the larger pieces were parts of me that I think are very important to my identity. I think that it is important to step back and look into what makes you who you are in order to understand yourself better before you can try to understand another person and their cultural identity. As teachers, we will need to do this for each student that walks through our doors and create an open and accepting environment for each culture.